Martins.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Good evening. What's happening? What is happening? Welcome to another episode of Grassroot Chats with your host, MC SaabiiBoi, and co-host, Mr. Dwayne P. Frank. What is
What's
going
good?
on,
What's
sir?
good?
How you doing? How you doing?
I'm all right still. I'm all right, man. Can't complain. It's another Tuesday. It's another episode. We're fresh.
I like it. I like it. I like the freshness. I like the freshness. International weekend coming up. Nothing much happening in terms of club football, and so we have basically a week of rest in terms of our hearts skipping every now and then with the teams that we support. But moving on to other sports, though, moving on to other sports. This week we're going to start fresh in the fighting scene. In the fighting scene. Now, there are loads of situations that I would like you to explain to me based on some wonderful decisions our good friends in the UFC have decided to take. Yes, because there are certain things that I just don't understand. So,
Oh
for all
boy.
the UFC fans out there, and for us that are big fight fans as well, I want to start by trying to understand the logic behind UFC 261, where the main card happens to be Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal 2.
hmm
Now,
Yeah.
that is a fight I was expecting to happen, but not that soon. What is the rationale behind that? Because as far as I was concerned, there are better, juicier fights to make in that division than Usman Masvidal 2. So let's try and break down what the UFC was thinking, whether it makes sense or not. What do you think?
Bruvs, it's very simple. It's all about bums on seats. It's all about the fact that they want to get as many pay-per-view buyers as possible. You know, we look at the people who put bums on seats. You got the McGregors of the world, the Masvidals, the Adesanyas, the John Joneses. You know, these are the sort of guys who put the bums on seats. No disrespect to Usman. Nobody wants to see Usman. No
No,
one,
no, no, don't say
nobody.
that. He's the champion.
No,
Definitely
no,
people want to see him.
no. Come on,
Obviously,
people don't want to see
whoever
Usman.
he fights adds to the pay-per-view thing. And then because he's the champion and there's so much bad blood in that division, pretty much anybody will put bombs on seats. I understand that yes, Masvidal and the likes of McGregor, those are heavy hitters. Those guys always bring enough people to the party. So we are saying the pretty much primary reason for this fight coming so soon. And yes, we understand the first fight pretty much broke or almost broke the record for pay-per-view.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
we're saying the only reason this was moved so quickly is because of pay-per-view. It has nothing to do with the fact that Camaro actually called him
It's
out.
got to be. It's got to be. I mean, at the end of the day, first things first, should you be getting a title shot when you're coming off a loss? No. Okay. Now, people might say, do you know what? The guy already had like, what is it?
1 week.
Correct me. One week notice, right? This time he's having 5 weeks notice. That's 34, 35 days. 34, 35 days isn't enough to get ready for Usman. Come on now.
Yeah,
I'm
but
expecting at the end
he
of the
has been
night to hear
keeping.
the same thing.
He has
And
been,
still,
oh no, I don't think there's any doubt that we would hear and still, unless something happens. But he has been keeping himself in shape. He has been getting ready for a potential possible fight. And
hmm
then the fact that he has been keeping himself in shape, a 5 weeks training camp should be more than ideal for an individual that has been waiting for a fight or looking forward to a fight. If anything, I think Usman has the disadvantage in terms of just coming out of a major fight, resting, then going back into. So Masvidal is coming to this very fresh and ready, well rested and ready to pounce.
he might be coming into this very fresh. I get that side of it, and I agree 100%. I agree. But at the same time, within that year, you've got to think that Usman's got better. I think he's better than what he was from last year for sure. You know, oh, I'm sorry. I see only one outcome, and for me, who else would you have thrown in there at the moment? It's a tough one against Usman. I don't know who else you would have thrown in there, but for a man to be coming off a loss, does he deserve the title shot coming off a loss
But he
to
was
the
coming up.
same guy?
Yep. So he was coming off a loss to the same guy. And before that, Masvidal was probably one of the hottest fighters, other than the champion,
Mm, yeah,
in,
yeah, yeah,
in the division. And by hot, we mean crowd puller,
100%.
BMF belt.
Yep,
He had won his last three or last four.
last three. Yeah, yeah.
Last three. And the reasoning behind he was the last minute step up to the fight where
Yes.
Gilbert Bonds had coronavirus.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then when people mentioned the Masvidal Kobe Covington fight,
Hmm.
Covington, whatever him,
Yeah.
that fight, Masvidal makes a statement saying, "I did better in my fight against Usman. I only had 1 week. I went through the distance with him. It was difficult.
Mm.
I mean, Kobe got knocked out. Why should I fight somebody that was demolished by the champion? Especially when I had just 1 week and I had to travel around halfway around the world to get the fight on.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
maybe this is one of those situations that they said, okay, fine, let's give you your due process. Let's give you time to prepare, and hopefully you can get this done. And make no mistake, a lot of people believe that he will get it done.
A lot of people will believe that he'll get it done, but I think we're in agreement that neither one of us thinks he's going to get it done at all. I will not be surprised if this is a TKO. I'm expecting a TKO in about the third to fourth round is what I'm actually thinking. I think Masvidal with his 5 week training is still going to get gassed out. I still think he's going to get taken down. I still think he's going to get bare elbows in his face. Well, the Panda Yam is going to come back to haunt him again. And what's going to happen? We're going to hear it. And still, that's what we're going to hear. So for me, this is why I see it as a pointless fight. It's a free fight for Usman's legacy. That's what I call it. It's a free fight. Usman's he's almost in a no way win situation. He's supposed to beat him on 5 weeks' notice, regardless of whether it's 4 weeks more. But he's got to finish him. He's got to finish him. He cannot afford to be taken to 5 rounds again by Masvidal because people, as it is, they look at him and they want to see they want to see Usman beaten. They want to see him beaten. Can you imagine if he loses to Masvidal after 5 weeks notice? Nah, star. No way.
Well, either way, as you say, it's a win-win for the UFC because if it goes, first of all, if it goes 5 rounds, once again,
Mm-hmm.
I think if it goes 5 rounds, the excuse behind that to be Masvidal had more time to train. He came in sharper, looking probably better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If Usman beats him, if Usman knocks him out, credit to Usman, a bit more excitement. People have said he fights well, he dominates, but he doesn't have the vim in
Yes.
terms of being a champion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where the credit goes to UFC, if Masvidal beats Usman, that means there will be a third fight.
100%. There has to be a third fight
Especially,
if that
especially
happens.
if he beats him, there have to be a third fight. You have to give him the
Yep,
chance, you know, giving Masvidal the chance to get the title twice
of course,
in less
of
than a
course.
year.
Exactly,
So I
exactly.
think,
It'll be a Daniel Cormier and Stipe Miocic part two. It'll be 2.0 because that's exactly what happened there as well. So I
well,
expect a trilogy if Masvidal defeats Usman.
right there, that means right there we've definitely come to the conclusion or to the thinking of what the UFC was thinking then, because it works out
Hmm.
well for them in terms of you didn't have a great chance the first time, but giving you a chance. If you win, it's more money and more seats on the table for us to see it happen the
100%.
third time.
Yep.
And it's looking good in their favor. As I said, I expected it to happen, but I didn't
Mm.
expect it to be so soon. But we shall see what happens on that day. We shall see what happens on that day. Moving on in terms of UFC. Now, this is another one that I need serious help with because I don't understand this. First of all, I don't understand why we have a contender table, why we have a top 10, why we have a top 15.
Mm.
If number six will be given a chance at the title and all that story. But moving to the lightweight division, the division that has Dustin Poirier, sorry, as number one contender, and I think Justin Gaethje is number two. Now, yes,
Yes.
both men have lost to Khabib when they were given a chance to win the title, but both men have earned their spot in terms of their fighting track record and the people they have faced. Now comes in Michael Chandler, who I totally understand, former Bellator champion, came in with a lot of promise. The UFC, as we understand, has spent a lot of money bringing him into the UFC.
A lot.
He comes in, gets a very good debut against Dan Hooker. Pretty
Hmm.
much annihilates the guy in like a few minutes.
Yep. First
And
round.
then he is, as he said, he's here for to have a good time. He's not here to make friends. Blah blah blah. Everybody knows what his goal is. He wants to win the title.
Hmm.
But is it fair that after one fight in the UFC, 1-0, regardless of the fact that you are a Bellator champion, he's already fighting for the belt since Khabib has retired 100%. I can understand Oliveira being in contention because of 8 fights winning streak, right time, right place, not unlucky like the likes of Tony Ferguson where there was a pandemic. But
Hmm.
Chandler versus Oliveira for the lightweight title, number 3 facing number 4. Mm,
Can we please
I don't get it.
just put down a hashtag, copy and paste? It's exactly the same situation as Masvidal and Usman. Bums on seats
Bums
with
on the
Chandler,
seat. Bums on the
right?
seat compared to Chandler. I can tell you the other matches, the other matchup there that would definitely give you bums on the seat, especially in that division. That division is probably one of the most difficult divisions out there. And I could tell you for a fact from contender number 1 to contender number 8 will give you bums on the seat for that title.
Yes, they will. But you've got to think Chandler right now, you've got to remember this guy's come from Bellator, right? The key word is Bellator. The fact is, he's going to have UFC fans and he's going to be bringing Bellator fans who want to see him become the UFC champion. Why do they want to see him become UFC champion? Because Bellator has always been classed as the second grade mixed martial arts era. So if that is the case, and one of their boys comes over to UFC, destroys Dan Hooker, takes out Oliveira as well in 2 fights,
And
and wins
becomes
the
champion
title
in
and
2 fights.
becomes the champion, that's a mockery of the UFC.
So
So that's the first.
then why would the UFC want to do that if it's going to be a mockery for them?
Money.
So,
So at the
so
end of the day, you look at it this way.
okay.
Think about it, yeah. So if you're UFC, you've you've poured so much money into Chandler, okay? You want to fast track him to that championship and you want him to win that championship because you know with those pay-per-view buys that UFC fans are going to be already tuning in. Bellator fans are going to be tuning in. If it's Dustin Poirier, is it going to be, are Bellator fans going to be tuning in? No. Gaethje? No. They're not one of their own. So I look at it from that point of view, and I understand why they have put Chandler in this. I agree with you 100%. 8 fight winning streak. Oliveira deserves to be in there. Now here's the curveball, okay? Because you pointed it out. Gaethje and Poirier, they've both lost to, what's his name?
Khabib,
Khabib.
Khabib.
Look at that mind blank there, right? The recently retired Khabib. They both lost. Now, here's the thing: if you put Dustin Poirier or Gaethje in this championship bout and they win, people gonna care?
Yes, people will care because then there will be a clear champion, and then you have clear contenders that are ready to get that belt quick in.
You
Because yeah,
say that. You
yes,
say that.
yes, you may look at it that oh yeah, they were given a chance. They were given a chance to try and get a title, and they didn't have it. But everybody that was given a chance against Khabib was put down. Khabib has beaten Dustin. He has beaten Justin. He has beaten McGregor. He has beaten anybody that you put in front of him, pretty much. But
Exactly.
yes, he didn't fight.
Anyone that
Yes.
you've put in front of him, but he hasn't beaten Chandler and he hasn't beaten Oliveira. So, what more of a chance and a reason for UFC to put someone
So
as the champion who's not been beaten? Because if I'm Dustin and if I'm Gaethje and I win the title, I'm always going to be thought of as the guy who was mauled by Khabib.
I don't think so. You'll be thought of as being the champion
Oh, come on.
because everybody that was put in front of Khabib was mauled. So it's nothing special to say, oh yeah, that's the guy that lost to Khabib. Yeah,
Of course it is.
but everybody did
Of
lose
course
to
it is.
Khabib. Everybody lost to
Yeah,
Khabib. So it's
yeah, but
nothing
you don't want to be that guy.
there's nothing. The only way you don't want to be that guy is to fight Khabib and win, which will not happen, even if he wasn't retired. So, I mean,
I don't know, man.
I understand the point of saying, okay, we'll give it to, as I said, we'll start to Oliveira. Um, he didn't, as far as I remember, he didn't lose to Khabib. He's on an 8 fight winning streak,
Mhm.
and let's give him a chance. And then Tony Ferguson, no, he has lost his last two.
Yeah,
Justin Gaethje lost to Khabib. I don't know. I don't know. If the reasoning is obviously one of the first major reasons, as you say, is pay-per-view. You're probably right in the sense that Chandler, because of the explosive starts coming from Bellator,
100%,
Bellator fans will tune in. Money being an incentive. But
100%.
putting those two straight up for a title, I don't know. I'm not sure I agree with that, but we
I
should
don't agree
see.
with it either. I don't agree with it either. But I can see why UFC have done it. Two big factors: bums on seat, especially as well. Three factors. Eight winning streak with Oliveira makes sense. Chandler, because of the UFC and Bellator influence, makes sense. Both of them have not lost to Khabib, makes sense. So I get why they're doing it that way. However, with UFC, it's always been, well, before, it's always been you're number one ranked, you're straight in there. So by default, Dustin should be there. 100% agree with you. But at the same time, I see why UFC have gone down this route.
Personally, I think Dustin Oliveira should have gone for it, but it is all good. It's all good. They
Isn't
know
he
how
fighting? Isn't he fighting McGregor though? Isn't he having a rematch or?
that hasn't been announced or nothing has been said, so we don't know. We have no
Hmm.
idea what is going on. No
And
idea.
also, before we move on, if Dustin and McGregor gets signed, more money for Dustin. So we know that it's a short career in the UFC. If you are Dustin and they say to you, you know what, title shot. So as I was saying, if you had a choice and you're Dustin Poirier, and they said to you, title shot to be the first champion after Khabib, or trilogy with McGregor, bare money. Which one are you going to choose?
I'll choose championship. Do you know why?
Gone.
I'll tell you why. Because the long term for the championship is that he will make more money. If he beats Oliveira, say for example, Dustin was paired with Oliveira, and he beats Oliveira and becomes a champion, he will make more money because his demands will be higher when he fights McGregor because he has more to lose. As a champion, the UFC treats their champions really well, money wise going forward. As far as I remember, when Dustin fought Dan Hooker. Apparently, his fee was 150 to show up, 150 to win. So that's 300,000.
Mm-hmm,
As a champion, he will
mm-hmm,
already be very close to six figures if in terms of millions. And then so he wins the belt of Oliveira. He's top dog. He's number one. Endorsement.
mm-hmm,
He's
mm-hmm.
the face of the UFC. And McGregor wants to fight him. We all know what McGregor brings to the table. And then with the fact that he is the champion, his demands will be more. So he'll make more money if we're talking about money as the champion. And that's what everybody fails to realize. The same thing with Masvidal. If Masvidal beats Kamaru, obviously fighting Kamaru is going to make a lot of money because he uses the fact that I bring seats or bumps to the seats, all that. If he then becomes champion, where he lays his demands for the fights, my good God. So, trust me, in terms of money, being the champion is way better than anything. And most of these guys come here to fight. Yes, money is wonderful. They want to make good money, blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, man, that gold around your waist, that is that is the thing right there. That is the thing. But anyway, we
I
shall
think
see.
we can look at it both ways, man.
We shall see. And then you do just another one. You do realize Dustin fights McGregor and loses to McGregor. That's it. He's going to lose his number. He will lose his number one contender status.
But why does it matter? Because clearly
With
being
the,
number
with,
one doesn't even matter right now.
yeah, it doesn't matter right now. But if he loses to McGregor, him getting a title shot will be way further than it is now. Way further than it is now.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair
Well,
enough.
it's all good. We shall, as always, be awake long nights
Ah,
and
100.
losing sleep and trying to watch these great fights when they come. And sticking to the fight game, Ngannou versus Stipe Miocic. Now, Ngannou has been going around and he has been calling himself the uncrowned champ because he
Hmm.
believes that he has learned a lot from the last fight and to he's ready to make things different this time around.
Mm.
A lot of people still believe Stipe will win because he has a better all-round game. And in the first fight, he showed us that he could take the power shots from Ngannou. How do you see this fight panning out? Are we going to see a new or still?
And still,
And still,
the champion, the greatest of all time. We are going to see him become the greatest of all time. And I will come on to that and I'll tell you why he's going to become the greatest of all time. But
please do.
let's deal with Francis Ngannou first.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Francis Ngannou is definitely a better version now from 2018. Let's not even debate that. Okay. However, he's a better version in regards to being a knockout artist. My guy still is not going 2, 3, 4 rounds with anybody. My guy, in the last 3 fights that he's had, I think he's been in the ring, he's been in the octagon for collectively less than 2 minutes. Less than 2 minutes in the octagon. You can do only so much training, only so much, but we all know you need to be in a boxing ring, you need to be in an octagon, you need to be on a football pitch to be ready, to be match ready. He is not ready. I'm telling you for free. On the other hand, people might say Stipe has been out of the ring for a while because he only fights one a year. But as much as this guy's improving, Francis Ngannou, let's talk about Stipe. Oh my days, this is a whole different level. Him fighting Cormier 3 fights in a row, right? He is an elite. He's now an elite wrestler. He was a good wrestler. Now he's elite. He's obsessed. You know what he's gonna do against Francis Ngannou. You know Ngannou's gonna come straight at him. You know there's gonna be a double leg takedown. You know there's gonna be ground and pound. I'm telling you for free. Round 3 or round 4, I'm expecting a TKO. This is a faster, more trimmed, more exciting, elite wrestling Stipe. There's no contest for me. It's done. I'm sorry, it's done. The only way Francis Ngannou can win this fight is in the first minute with a knockout. If he doesn't beat him with a knockout in the first minute, he's done out here. I'm sorry. Stipe will take over. Will take over.
You're sure about that? Yep.
I'm telling you for free, and I haven't even got on to how he's going to become the greatest of all time. I will get onto that in a second after you make your point.
No, no, I'm not making. I'm not no doubt to what you're saying in terms of match analysis. In terms of Stipe is going to try and be smarter, trying to avoid the punches. But you did mention that Ngannou has improved,
Yeah,
which his punching power has. He has worked on his wrestling, worked on his stamina, and probably even worked on his game plan. Stipe, when it comes to, I don't know how long he'll be able to contain that power in terms of us, especially with the five match round. And if Ngannou glance, especially, I mean, the first fight, as I said, Stipe showed that he had a good chin. He showed that. And but
yeah,
even after the fight, he looked like he had been hit by a truck and
mm-hmm.
all that.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
he's older. Now he's older. Yes, he might be a fitter, or he might be, he has improved. But as you said, there is that possibility that that one punch power can take him out. And
100%. I
I'm
agree. I agree.
and I don't think Ugano will rush going in because he knows.
I think he will.
I think Stipe will put him on the ground because he knows that. I think he'll be a bit more careful. He'll take his shots better. He won't. He doesn't want to gas
Mm.
out or burn himself out. So I think well, in terms of calling it, it won't surprise me either way how the fight will go. How I want it to go is anew, but
Nah, sir, nah.
we'll
And I'll
see.
tell you why.
We shall see.
I'm going to tell you exactly why I do not want to see new. Because I want to see Stipe become the greatest of all time. He is
He's
close.
already the greatest of all time. He has
No,
won.
he's not.
He has.
He's not.
When you say
He's got
greatest
the
of all
greatest of all
time,
time.
are you talking about heavyweight or generally? As
Overall, in general, overall,
how's he going to
the
become
greatest of
greatest
all
of all
time.
time when he has lost
Let me
already?
tell you.
And John
Let me
Jones,
tell you.
tell me,
Let me tell you how he will be the greatest of all time
tell
because
me.
you just mentioned his name, John Bones Jones. I want to see Stipe take care of Francis Ngannou, and then I want him to take care of John Bones Jones. Can you imagine how amazing it will be? This is right now. Stipe is he is the GOAT. He is the greatest of all time in the heavyweight division. Let's not even debate that. John Bones Jones is the greatest of all time in the light heavyweight division. Okay, they are both elite. They're both at the perfect time and level. This isn't a Mayweather versus Pacquiao too late to be happening. This is a perfect opportunity to be happening right now. Can you imagine if the greatest of all time at light heavyweight takes on the greatest of all time at heavyweight and then Stipe beats him? Oh my days. You have to call him the greatest of all time. And that's
And
exactly what I think is going to happen
I can tell you,
after he takes care of Ngannou.
I can tell you this for free. If Stipe beats Francis Ngannou and John Jones gets that slot, he won't beat John Jones. I'll tell you that for free, for absolute free, 100% free. I mean, I'll even pay you to tell you. In fact, let me even pay you to tell you that if if you ask John Jones who he would rather fight between Ngannou and Stipe, 100% he will say Stipe. 100.
Of course he will.
100%.
He will say
Yes.
Stipe like
As a matter,
anyone would say Stipe because everybody is scared and worried about that 1 minute 30-second power, that explosion. But
so
we know if you get past that 1 minute,
especially
Ngannou's done out here.
especially coming to the division as a new fighter, yes, you might be heavier, but this boy is hit harder. And, the skill set is there is an absolute wonderful skill set, but it's about heavyweight. I can guarantee you that John Jones, yes, would want Stipe to win this fight, and he would want to fight Stipe just so that he can get that double champ stats. And then John Jones will then be the GOAT without a doubt. No doubt. But
I think you've forgotten a certain man called Jean Saint Pierre. How have we disregarded Jean Saint Pierre just like that?
if John Jones wins champ, he's better than GSP. He hasn't lost. He has won no contest. He hasn't lost at all. He has beaten everybody. 10 years undefeated. 10 since he was 23. My good God. Never been taken down in the UFC. Never been
You know
knocked
what?
out in the UFC.
You know what? I'm Team Stipe, right? And I'm telling you for free, if Stipe gets well past Francis, then boy, I am gonna be all about Stipe. I will tell him to eat the pounded yam. He better go eat the okra, the saltfish, everything, because I want him to beat John Jones. I love John Jones. I think his game is elite level, serious standard. But Stipe, the way he is trimmed down, if you've watched his training sessions as well, he's faster, he's elusive, his wrestling. He has to thank Daniel Cormier for what he has become right now. I mean, a lot of people might say, and this is the only worrying thing I have about him, how good is his chin right now? Because we saw what Daniel did to him in the first fight. We saw what he did. But the second and third fight, he dealt with Daniel. He dealt with him. And this guy now is a serious elite level guy. Same with Jones. I want to see that super fight. I do not want to see Francis against Jones. I'm not bothered about that fight. It doesn't excite me. I want to see Stipe versus Jones. I want to see GOAT versus GOAT to see who is the GOAT of all GOATs. That's what I want to see.
That's very interesting. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Unfortunately, it's not about what you want to see, it's what happens in the ring. But we shall see, as we say. We shall see. Well,
I'm on fire, man.
moving on from the UFC and all the fighting game. As I said, we'll stay up when the time comes and see what happens. The staying up starts this Saturday with Ngannou versus Stipe, and then we'll see how that goes. Now, one of the things I want to touch on is how, if you want to be a top class manager, there's certain mistakes you shouldn't make twice,
Yeah.
especially in a very short, well, it's not short, but fairly quick year.
Mm-hmm.
So last season, Man United versus Chelsea, FA Cup semi-final. Solskjaer rests the key players, loses to Chelsea
Mm-hmm.
in a situation, in a chance where he could have been, at least we don't know if the first team players would have, you know, given
Made a
you
difference.
made a difference, but at least you're playing your best team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Fast forward over just over a year, Man United plays Leicester in the FA Cup final with a couple of days for the international break, which means some of these players will have 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks off. Yes, we do understand there are internationals in the Man United team. However, your priority as a Man United manager is your team.
Mm-hmm.
So why take out the key players once again, considering what happened to you a year before? What was Solskjaer thinking exactly? Because I don't understand why you would make such a mistake, especially at this time when you are in contention for 2 cups, and then if you beat Leicester, if you had beaten Leicester, we're not saying Southampton is an easy team, but you'd be fighting with Southampton in the semis of the FA Cup would make
Yes.
a lot of sense, and then you would have players ready towards the end of the season. But why make all those changes against Leicester? As far as
You
I'm
see, this
concerned,
this this match confuses me, and it made me wonder. Okay, because if I remember rightly, you're still in the Europa League, and you're very much still fighting for the Champions League spots. I genuinely think that Solskjaer's main focus is Champions League or bust. I think he knows that. And he knows if he wins the Europa League, they're straight into Champions League. And I've looked at the draw for the Europa League. On paper, it should be Arsenal versus Man United in the final. It should be. And if that happens, I'm not even going to watch it. I expect Man United to win by 2 clear goals. I'm not even going to lie. That's just how I think. So I look at the FA Cup and I'm wondering whether he gave two tosses about it. I looked at that first half against Leicester City, and it was piss poor. Let's tell it how it was. It was piss poor. They were overran. We expected them to come out in the second half all guns blazing, but it didn't. They were flat. Now, did they have the players out there that should be able to do a job? I think they had players out there who could do the job, you know. But as I've been saying on my YouTube prediction show as well, Kelechi Iheanacho is on fire. He's on fire, and I love this guy, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do next season because he's going to take over Vardy, right? But with Man United, there were stupid mistakes like the Fred situation. I don't know, man. I just don't know. I mean, it's best to ask you. I don't know whether he prioritized the FA Cup at all. I don't know.
I don't think he did not take it seriously because winning the FA Cup, he's been a Man United manager for almost 3 years now,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and he needs to win. Yes, people talk about, oh, you're doing well, oh, the team seems to be doing wonderful, blah blah blah, but you need to win a cup to show this. You need to win a cup to keep some of these players. Now, you mentioned the fact of making the Champions League. Man United is
It's
second in the
important.
table. Man United is
Yeah.
second in the table now,
Yeah.
and and being second in the table, being if Man United had beaten Leicester, being in the semi-final of the FA Cup, and quarterfinals of the Europa League, what more incentive do you need? Why would you? And a trophy is a trophy, considering the fact that you're not going to win the league and you're not in the Champions League. So you might as well
Mm.
win. And then you lost to City in the semi-finals of the League Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Surely other cup competitions that you're in, and being second in the league, you should take it seriously. Now, if Man United had played the first team and then Leicester won, I mean, make no mistake, as you said, the better team won on the day. Man United
Mm.
were poor. However, if you then Man United being poor, he makes 4 changes at once, putting in the players that we expected him to actually start the game with.
Start. Yeah. Yeah.
Which means that you're now chasing a win from a goal behind and then 2 goals behind.
But
So
do you think?
that tells us that you actually know what the first team would have been or the better team would have been for you to play. And this cannot be looked at as a rookie mistake because you made the same mistake last year.
But at the same time, don't you think him having those players on the bench shows his faith in the 11 that he put out? Because didn't you guys just play a very, very tough game against Milan in Milan?
Yeah, I mean, as a manager, you should have hope and faith or whatever, belief in any player that you start. I get that. I totally understand that. But then you should also have faith and belief in your first team, which is why there's a first team and their players are coming from the bench. Now, yes, you have strength and belief for the players that you have put out, which is fine.
Mm.
But then at the end of the day, you have to play your first team, especially when you're in a situation that you can win and progress. So it's not about, I understand. I mean, no disrespect to the players that are on the pitch, and we cannot proudly say that, oh, the team he put out should have won. Leicester is 2 points behind Man United in the league,
Yeah.
and this was one of the best times to actually play them in the sense that they had no Madison.
Hmm.
No Madison was there, which is one of the very key players. Um, yes, the defense that played was their first team defense, but he made it in such a way that Soyuncu was actually going pretty much. John Evans and Soyuncu were playing way back, and
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. They're playing
wingers
deep.
were attacking. And you had this was also a weakened Leicester side because without Madison, they are a weakened Leicester side, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
So this was a chance to. Vardy isn't firing on all cylinders. He hasn't scored a goal in how long? Yes,
Yeah, especially in open play.
Kelechi
Yeah,
Iheanacho is doing really well. He's the brightest spark right now. Indeed, he's playing that defensive midfield with like Zidane, even if Zidane wasn't a defensive midfielder. So
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
give yourself a reason to blame the players as the manager. And what I mean by that is give yourself the reason to say, I played my best team, but they just weren't good enough on the day. And a better Leicester team beat us. But don't give this situation that you're giving me and you now, where we're questioning you as a manager in what you would have done right, especially being in the club like Man United. Because
This is the thing. When you're Man United, I get where you're coming from. Man United equals trophies. You can't really afford to be there. You can't really afford to be a Pochettino 2.0. It can't happen at Man United. They need trophies. So I get that side of it. But at the same time, I just want. I mean, for me, maybe because I'm a neutral, I don't know. But you, if you finish, for example, second, right, and you're back in the Champions League, or you win the Europa League, will you really give a toss about the FA Cup?
if I win, sorry, if I win,
The Europa League,
uh-huh,
or you finish second, so you're automatically in Champions League, will you give a toss about the FA Cup?
yes, because it's one
You
less.
will,
Yeah, I'd rather win the FA Cup and the Europa League. The incentive,
of course.
there are two incentives for winning the Europa League. You win a cup and you qualify for the Champions League.
Yes.
Now, if we finish second and win the FA Cup, I'll actually take that than finishing second and winning the Europa League.
But then if you win the Europa League and you finish second, that's Super Cup.
Super Cup. What does Super Cup really do? For what does that? Apart from the players getting to travel to a country they haven't been to before, what does that really do for them?
It's light heavyweight champion versus heavyweight champion, bro. We just had this conversation.
Nah, man. Nah, man. The key thing here is that this I don't. I like to stand tall and support the managers of wherever club or whatever club I'm talking to.
Yeah. I get that.
For example, you see the massive improvement with Leicester under Brendan Rodgers. You see the way they play. You see the way he tweaks things. There's no Madison. He brings in Vardy and Iheanacho and they play really well together. He beefs up
Yeah.
Tilleman and Ndidi. So you can see the improvement. And this man plays his first team regardless of what happens. He plays his first team, he plays with the
Mm,
players available to him, and you can see the massive improvement since Brendan Rodgers has been in there. So
100%.
with Solskjaer, you do see improvements in Man United, but then you see that inconsistency. However, even as inconsistent as the season has been, not having a good home power and all that story, but still being able to get yourself in the cup competitions to give those players an extra, an extra boost. Man United wins the FA Cup as a Man United fan, and let's say this season, finish second, win the FA Cup, win the Europa League. We can attract any player that we would like to attract. Sorry. So
I
I,
don't think it matters.
I
I don't
feel
think the FA Cup
that
matters.
winning any cup is an opportunity. How can you say you don't think the FA Cup matters?
The reason why I don't think it matters is because you're Man United. Okay,
This is why
if
you
Man
should win
United are
every
back
cup.
in the champions, if Man United are back in the Champions League next season, they will attract anyone regardless.
First of all,
Regardless.
Man United was in the Champions League this season. Let's not forget that, and blew up a chance of getting to the second round. You beat PSG, beat Leipzig. You needed to go to Turkey and win a very weakened team that everybody was beating. You went and lost, and you pretty much threw away that chance after that because if we had won our first 4 games, that was qualifications, and we're ready to go. So don't tell me an opportunity is there to win a cup and you say it doesn't matter because it's the FA Cup. Nah. First of all, as fans, you can give yourself. I mean, City is in 4 cups. 4 cups. They're definitely they're going to win the league this season. They have a chance to win the League Cup, FA Cup. Do you actually think those players are thinking, nah, I don't think the FA Cup really means anything. You just no. As a player,
The
as
only
a team,
team,
you should win
the
everything.
only team who cares about the FA Cup is Arsenal. No one else cares about the FA Cup right now. No one else has respect for that cup right now. And that's what I'm wondering as to whether Solskjaer really, really cared. He probably went in the dressing room. Yeah, unlucky lads, la 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 la. Is he that fast? I don't think so. The bigger picture for Man United is to stay in that top two, keep your place in the Champions League, attract more players. There's talks about the likes of Donny van der Beek possibly going. The likes of Cavani not being able to stay and replacing these guys. So he's got to keep thinking about the bigger picture. For me, the FA Cup, yeah, great. It would be great to win that cup. That's the same thing Tottenham say and whatever. No one cares. So for me, I think the bigger picture is Champions League, sustain yourself, keep yourself there, top two finish behind Man City, come again next season and try and win that league and dislodge Man City.
Well, I disagree with looking at the FA Cup with such a low value. But however, regardless, even if you want to look at it as yet another football game, I think his decision making was terrible as a manager and playing a weakened team. Because if you wanted to play that team from start to finish, you wouldn't even have brought them on at all in trying to chase the game. If you believed so much with the team on the pitch, you would continue to play those players till they give you a result, which is what he normally does when he has players. Even sometimes he has players on yellow cards and he still keeps them in the game. But I think it's a poor decision. Anyways, thank you, Mr. Dwayne P. Frank. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for you tonight. We will be back next week with the lads after international breaks and hitting you with more topics with sports and football and anything possible that we can think of. It's goodbye from me and goodbye.
It's goodbye from Team Stipo. Mr. Miocic, do not let me down. Fireman, do not let me down. I do not want to see foolish full matches, Francis versus John. Please. No one even likes that name. Listen to the names, Francis and John.
And it's a
no
good
one
night
cares.
from Grassroot Chats. Good night.
It doesn't need to be good night, though, does it? Do you know what I mean?